but better with 3 new apps. Watch more with PlayGo. Cheer more with Sportsmax. Read more news with Loop. Listen more with D-Music. Plus extra data. It's simply more bundled together. 51 gigabytes for 7 days for only $2,000. Live the experience with Digicel. Activate today on the My Digicel app.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaiser Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Welcome to this evening's newscast on Kaiser Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. Guyana's Ministry of Natural Resources, which holds responsibility for the management of the country's petroleum sector, was this year allocated a paltry $150 million as part of a multi-year oil and gas sector development program. This would mean that the 2021 budget for the program has been slashed by $193 million since it would have been allocated $343 million in 2020, in addition to $120 million that was budgeted and spent in 2019. That $4.2 billion multi-year program is being funded by the International Development Association, a component of the World Bank's group. According to the scope of the program, as outlined by the Ministry of Finance in the recently approved budget estimates for 2021, the funding will go towards the completion of a gas-to-power study, in addition to the enhancement of the legal and institutional framework for management and oversight of the oil and gas sector. In other news, oil exploration in Guyana continues to apace, and despite a recent run of dry wells by Exxon Mobil and its partners in the Stabroek Block, Canadian-based oil and gas firm CGX is gearing to spend some $90 million to spud an exploration well in its Quarantine Block in the second half of 2021. In a recent update, CGX Energy said the Kawa-1 exploration is expected to be drilled in a depth of approximately 6,500 meters in a water depth of approximately 370 meters and is slated to be drilled in the second half of 2021. According to the company, the primary target for the exploration well is a Santonian age that should be referring to the depth interpreted to the analogues of the discoveries immediately to the east of Block 58 in Suriname. And moving on, if Guyana sees the need to establish a national oil company which would be aimed at monitoring and regulating its oil and gas sector, then Suriname says it is willing to offer its support to achieve that goal. Rudolf Elias, CEO of Suriname's national oil company, Staatsolie, revealed this support during his interview on Kaiser Radio's Guyana's Oil and Dew. Elias highlighted how Suriname is able to challenge and question the millions in costs handed to it by international oil groups, while noting how this was made possible through the establishment of Staatsolie. And moving on, Exxon Mobil has slashed its global oil and gas production from its operations globally to 3.7 million barrels per day. This would lead to Guyana accounting for a quarter of Exxon Mobil's total daily global production. CEO Darren Woods announced that Exxon Mobil has taken a decision to further slash its capital expenditure globally, a stark contrast to its increased expenditure in the Guyana Stabroek Block. And now let's tell you, gunboat diplomacy is a term which speaks to the practice of implying or threatening warfare to fulfill foreign policy goals. Government advisor on borders Carl Greenidge has no tolerance for Venezuela's brand of diplomacy, as it shamelessly indirectly expresses its desire for Guyana's Essequibo region. The Foreign Affairs Minister said the era of gunboat diplomacy and forcible acquisition of foreign territory in particular is past. Ever since Guyana discovered oil offshore, the country has ramped up its claims of the ownership of the Essequibo region. In other news, Exxon Mobil's local subsidiary, Esso, is forging ahead with plans for its fourth development in the Stabroek Block, Yellowtail. This is despite it not planning to submit the field development plan to the government for a review until the end of the year. The company also has already started putting out tenders. And moving on, the Ministry of Natural Resources is hoping to implement an adequate natural resources curriculum in secondary schools across Guyana. This is in hopes of erasing stereotypes about the natural resources industry, equipping young persons with the necessary knowledge needed if they are to venture into this sector, and boost local capacity, according to the Minister of Natural Resources, Vikram Bharat. The minister made this disclosure on a recent edition of the Budget in Focus program. And finally, let's tell you, even though a GRA investigation has found that Sol Guyana Inc. is abusing its tax exemption letters for years, the company has come forward to deny such a find, while adding that it is false, highly misleading and damaging. Sol said that it has robust procedures in place to ensure it remains in compliance with the use of its exemption letters. Further to this, Sol said it has commissioned an independent third party to conduct verification and reconciliation of its duty position, which will confirm Sol is currently compliant with duty-exempt importation regulations.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaito Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Guyana, please join me on the Glenn Lal Show, 99.1, 99.5, Kaito every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m. just in case you missed that program.
Public Advisory. GPL is coming to you. The Guyana Power and Light Inc. wishes to advise our valued customers within the Providence community and neighboring environs that GPL will be hosting a community outreach on Saturday, March 13th, 2021 at Massey Stores, Providence, East Bank, Demerara from 9 hours to 1400 hours. Residents are encouraged to come with your questions or queries regarding GPL bill or any other GPL related matters, as GPL's competent staff will be on site to assist customers at the point of their need. Hashtag GPL is on the move. For more information, call GPL's call center on 226-2600 or contact GPL's Public Relations Unit on 225-1471.
Africa is ours, and I want us to guard it with all our life.